And live. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone. I'm still adjusting.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is
Howdy.
Suming, and we have
I'm
Tristan.
We have the
I'm
rainforest,
Tristan.
Tristan, from
Yes.
the rainforest. I'm
Yes,
Chiliam.
correct. So as you see here, I actually got the John Wang's T-shirt. Go, go. Let's go net code and all that. So thanks, Izuli, for actually sending it over. We just do some shout out to them anyway. So, but we also get the, I also get the John Red and all that. So yes, why we talk about them so much because they give us free T-shirt. They
Don't
bribe
give
us.
you. They give you, not
They only
us.
give you free T-shirt. That's why I give so much. That's how you bribe me. You see, you don't
So
give me money.
what
Give me T-shirt.
what are we supposed to talk about? Do we have anything
Oh,
going on next week or this
Christmas
next week?
Eve. In fact, we have nothing planned until after until 2021. Actually, even that I don't have anything. I don't have a strong plan for 2021. So we
No,
do.
it's the real 2020. Sorry.
Oh yeah, that too. And Tristan is not a predator again. So let's start with too soon. Let's start with our bus corner. So the first thing our bus corner. No, actually, we should start with event.
So I think we just go random. We just talk about what we did recently.
Yeah, we'll go there sooner or later. We have nothing going on. We have nothing going on until 29. So the
So
first
yeah,
one
stay
is
at home, stay safe.
yes. Don't count down outside, please. I know the government quote unquote partially allowed. Don't go out, please. Stay at home
Stay
until
at
you get the
home.
vaccine. Even that,
which is
make sure the
like
vaccine works first.
2022.
No, actually, it's possible that we get it next year. It's very possible, but but in reality, we are more likely to get it on the later stage.
Yeah, because of the logistics and issue, like
Correct.
yeah.
So in practice, people that is not important may get it later. I might get it earlier simply because I'm a very sick person. Let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to
Let's
do
hope you
multiple
get.
checkup and all that.
Let's hope you are healthier next year.
Yeah. So the first thing that is actually happening that I want to talk about because one of the big event already being announced. This is the KL Startup Summit. This is actually done by my friend and among of my common friend also. I know them. In Barrage. This one of the more well-known startup event featuring
What
grassroots.
did he run previously? His name is very familiar.
In Barrage runs a few hackathon. For example, he
No,
run.
no, I remember he ran something. Oh, some
He
meetup.
run
I
a
think I
Scrum
attended some
Accelerator.
meetup. He ran.
Yeah. He works a lot in the entrepreneur scene. For example, he used to run Pixar Works. Then he also did some big hackathon and all that. So yeah, so he do a lot of stuff lah. And his hackathon is usually real and very successful. So the next one is actually Castle Summit. It will feature. It's actually featuring grassroots entrepreneurs, taking like us and all that. Knowing
Yeah, like the last lemak seller.
the
I have a
technology
pet peeve
startup
of this
people.
word, like
The
grassroots.
technology startup people. The technology
Okay.
startup people. So
Sorry, I'll keep picking on this word whenever I have the
yes,
opportunity.
I know it's the same reason why I pick on up the word of AI or IoT. So
Yeah.
yes,
You know what I realized that is that my car is also an IoT.
yes, it's connected to the internet, all that, right?
It was warning that it was giving me warning on the phone that it was unlocked. It was not, I forgot to lock it.
Oh, okay, that's advanced. So either way, this is a more grassroots type of tech startup community event. So if you're interested, I think you should try. You should go in because most of us will work in this kind of environment anyway. It's good to network if you can. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is Google had an outage on the authentication system.
Did you encounter it?
I did because
I think it
just
somehow
got
slipped my window. I didn't see it happen.
it's only 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes or so. So
Okay.
it's reasonably fast at resolution. But there is Google. So people have high expectation, and they've rarely had this kind of outage at this level. And this is actually one of the few times we actually see the monkey actually working. So somebody see
Like
before, but it's not often.
yeah, yes, we've been suspecting there are some monkeys working in Google, right?
Yes. So it's actually out for 45 minutes and it's resolved. So yeah, if and more interestingly, the anything that controlled by Google Home is actually affected. So it used to be outage is funny on the tech industry, not when you start controlling your light bulb. So something to think about. And this is why I don't have a smart light bulb and all that. I use a thing called a switch, and I have to walk over it, and it's safe from the internet. So
Oh, that's why I want to show you later.
really okay. So the next one is a major browser attacked by malware. Had a widespread malware attack. So those included are Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Yandex. So if you use Safari, you're safe. So yeah,
Yay!
yeah. So does it mean I should switch to using Mac now?
I don't know. It's up to you.
I don't know. I'm a poor guy. I can only get a
Normal
2000.
laptops isn't that cheaper.
I know.
No,
That's a lie.
PC
Because,
laptops are not exactly cheaper.
yeah,
It's
because I'm
like
actually
the price are comparable, just like Android
yes,
phone. If you go
actually.
if you go to the mid and high range, they are comparable.
Yes, precisely. So
Yeah. So if you're into those lines of like the flagship lines, they are not any cheaper than MacBook.
yes. But either way, I have some philosophy around that, but that's something for another thing.
Well, it really depends on the laptop that you're buying.
Yes.
Like there are the Clevo clones, for
Yeah.
example, or the Clevo
Yeah.
laptops. They're like about 3,000 ringgit is quite a very good
Yeah.
deal. So I think I mentioned on the Engineers My DevKami channel,
Yeah.
right? Like I pre-ordered the MacBook Air
Yeah.
with 16 gigs of memory, 7 GPU, and that's about 5,200. Uh, and that is like around the same price that I bought this 3900X laptop that I'm using right now.
Right.
So it is, but that is a lot more portable, and you have a lot more hours to
Yeah.
to use your laptop for. So
And the
it
latest
really depends on what
the
you're
MacBook
getting.
Air doesn't come with a fan, right?
Yeah, it doesn't
So it's
come with
much
a fan.
lighter.
It's it's apparently like 1.4 kilograms or something. It's lighter. You have a really good display, like a
Mhm.
P3 something display. So it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for cheap, you'll find it
Yeah.
cheap and
Yeah.
powerful. If you're
No, but
looking
I mean,
for
in terms of of our daily driver, then it's not much of a difference. I mean,
There's not
they
much of a
are, but
difference.
well,
I mean, there's difference, but
speaking of
yeah.
yes, speaking of daily driver, I don't think it's a big deal right now, especially if you have fast internet connection because of
Yes.
like you can always remote in, right?
yeah.
Yes, correct.
Oh, yeah. So people wondering about this background, this is
I mean, you
actually the
have
view
I mean,
outside my
it's
window.
a privilege that you have an option to remote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. The remote, I mean, like VS Code remote, like to remote
Yeah.
into a faster computer. So
Yeah.
I can be in
Yeah,
a Chrome
assuming you
Potato
have a
laptop.
beefy machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, I
So
don't
that
care.
I guess,
Like, give me a Raspberry Pi and I can do it.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so
Yeah.
it's
So
the same actually.
Yeah, but you have to
it's
need
going,
one beefy machine in the first place.
Yes.
yeah, and that beefy machine, you can buy it,
Oh.
and it can be like for like 7 years. It's the same thing, right?
Our,
You just like keep
Yep.
upgrading it. So it depends.
Yep.
So for Andy, who's asking about the background, that's actually the view outside of my window. I just like put it
No,
as my background.
that's where he at now, right now.
That is where I am right now, just
Yeah.
outside.
That's a perk of being for remote working.
Mm. But it is literally where I am right now. It's just not the same, like just a meter from where I am. This view.
So a final one on the laptop thing. Generally, I can work on Windows and all that. I don't mind Windows because I can play game along the way. So let's move on. So I'm not a fan of Apple. That's it. That's about it. Cloudflare had a web analytics tools. They have something basic for a while. So this is something closer
No,
to Google.
the latest one is it works more like Google Analytics. Previously,
Yes.
you have to proxy your traffic through Cloudflare to get the analytics right.
Correct.
So
correct.
now you can do it just like Google Analytics, includes the snippets of JavaScript,
Yeah.
totally fine. And you don't even need to use Cloudflare to proxy your traffic, and you
Yeah.
can get the stats.
So this is you don't
they-
rely. Go on.
Yeah, do they have a free tier?
Yeah,
Or
this is it is.
Okay.
Also, Cloudflare send me a report every month about how much traffic they save for me.
Yeah. So for free.
It's very you can be surprised like how much like crawlers consume your traffic.
Yes. Which is why people don't like crawlers.
Yeah,
And
this
also
which is why for
traditional.
those I PSA for those data science people, come on,
Yeah.
be nice, to just hit, like just hitting the server like it's not like it's your service.
Yes.
Be nice. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, that's another story because I have so much complaint about scraping. So move on.
I think it's one of the skill that I need. I value, like, because that involves like how you get data from a data source and how to make sense of data is a good practice.
Correct.
But the ethical part is, I think, that is a really very people seldom talk about. So let's proceed.
Oh, also before I go there, traditionally when we do traditional way of doing quote unquote analytics is that we actually analyze a lot. Cloudflare is totally in the right place to do that. You can absolutely do that easily because they control a big chunk of the traffic route. So I'm going to move on. Google released a fuzzing tool for Python called Ataris, and that's it. Mostly. They got
I remember
multiple
this is a
fuzzing
framework,
tools.
right? This is not
Yes,
actually
it is.
a tool with a definition. It's more like a framework, right? I'm not sure if this
Yes,
is one that I read.
Correct. So it's on GitHub. It's a fuzzer. So for a fuzzer is you actually try to generate random data to see how to actually semi-random nowadays, but it tend to be more random to actually try to access a password and whatnot. Yeah. So
See whether we have memory leaks and stuff.
Correct. So I don't know. But you can have extension and all that. Yeah, I think this is more framework and all that. So if you're into security, check this out. I'm going to move on. AMD had a prototype. There's a rumor prototype Apple one competitor, which is good for me and people and PC.
The more competition there is, the better it is.
Yes.
So I would like Intel or more from Intel and more from the general. General. Not
correct.
the Apple.
Yes.
SoC.
Correct. So yeah, this is mostly rumor. Hopefully we have something next year. If you're the lucky one to already got an M1 MacBook, you can try Docker for desktop now. So yeah, it's something. It's one of the big deal that they have last time. You can. So this is in preview now, but you can actually try it and see how it goes. So and final one, the launch experiment. I like this one because it worked on Firefox. Except I think
and this is a really fun one. Like
Yes.
I think do you want to show it?
I wonder if I can share the sound.
No, I don't think you can. You just I think just play it. Yeah, you can't get it.
You can't hear it.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
but yeah, go check it out. It's really fun.
Yeah, so the links actually on our blog at devkami.com. Get episode 113. I already put the links. I actually put the links on today's episode, so you can find it. I know we have to fix our navigation. Come to here. I think this is actually last one. This one I forgot to put in the bus corner. AWS has a cloud
Oh, and the
share.
latest for today is AWS location service as well.
Oh yeah, yes. The two things that I forget to add. So they had a location service. Let me do that. It's actually the
And also PSA, join us for Event of Code. We
yes,
are on the last week. So
yes,
yeah, I think this is the longest. This is the longest I lasted.
yeah. Same here. So the first one is we have the cloud shell. This actually is command line interface for you to actually work on the AWS service. I do not know what's the capability and all that, but it's pretty interesting. From what I understand, it is something that you can use across AWS project that you subscribe. I think so. Hello, did I lose me? Did I lose myself?
No.
No?
Okay. So this is actually pretty interesting. You can actually access all the service and all that using the cloud shell, this one. And AWS had a location service, so now you don't have to rely on Google. Traditionally, you have to use Google or some third-party service like Mapbox and all that.
Yeah. They are actually based on Mapbox. They can
Right.
use with Mapbox. So it's a consolidation of multiple services. So you see that you can use stuff from here, S3 and here. Then you can use existing library like Mapbox GL. But unfortunately, and also a news that people in the loop is that recently Mapbox decided to take back the latest version from MIT to proprietary.
Yeah, yes. And totally understandable because here's the thing about open source, right? You need to pay them.
If nobody is paying them, they got to.
Yes, unfortunately, this is the case. So that's the paradox of open source software. You're releasing it so that more people will use it. But the thing is, often people do not end up paying. It's actually the same thing that happened with Red Hat. CentOS Stream is different than Red Hat now. So and partly because people using CentOS as a free version of Red
So
Hat.
AKA CentOS is dead.
Yeah. So pay your open source software developer because they are giving a community service by releasing the code and all that. And those things are work, so they are not resource to be extracted for free.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's about it actually. That's about it for BuzzCon. So what you have for today? So anything interesting on your end? Anybody's end?
No, not really. Not really
So-
interesting stuff.
Actually, that's a lie because I know what you guys done. It's pretty interesting. But let's start with today's Advent of Code. Advent of Code is pretty interesting actually, but unfortunately, I need to close my windows. I actually closed my windows.
Unfortunately, I found out that I actually solved the problem pretty early on. It's just some silly typo that
Yeah.
I wrote.
Yes. That actually happened to me as well, but because yesterday actually I had to go. I had a long day, so all my error is actually on typo actually. Oops. So, but for today's question is pretty interesting actually. It's actually a form of.
It's actually Conway Game
Game
of
of
Life,
Life.
but
Correct.
3D
But in
and 4D.
3D. Yes. It's n-dimensional Game of Life.
That's why the first reaction for most people is bloody headed.
Yes. Originally it is, but it turns out.
It's pretty easy, right?
I'll show you what's the wrong way for you to.
I think the correct saying for Event of Code is once you figure out the solution, it's a no-brainer.
Correct. So traditionally, when I do my first implementation of Game of Life, is very traditional. But then I only have a small world, right? Small world. And it works. It works reasonably well.
Today's one is actually it's limitless. There's no boundary.
Correct. So that's where you have to think about your representation properly, right? And the representation that you have is to actually what you should really do instead is you do not have to make an array. What would really work efficiently and reasonably well is actually by where's my make map function? This one.
You you put your coordinates as a key.
Correct. So what it means is that I don't have a code editor here. So you build a structure that keep information of the coordinates that you have and
So
the actual value.
it's more like you have a sparse world.
Correct.
Because if it's empty, you don't need to allocate space for it. It's very
Correct.
sparse. Like, for example, when you're writing to a file, and for example, in Linux, right, you have a sparse
Yeah.
file.
Correct.
Can be 100 gigabytes on disk reported,
Yes.
but it's actually
Correct.
like a few bytes here and there, and then you're only actually writing to that, and everything else is still
Correct.
free for the file system to write into.
Correct. Because in your operating system, you're not collecting. Give me a moment. I need to drink water to sleep.
Like you can pre-allocate space, for example,
Yes.
which can be wasteful if everything else is empty anyway. And so usually
Correct.
the best way to
Let
save
me
up on
put it back.
resources is to use it as a sparse
Correct.
allocation. You only allocate
And
the
you
ones
have
that
to
you're
be
interested in.
correct. So once you have that, then what you do is you have a function that read through it and it doesn't exist a general dot. In this case, it is not hardly sparse. It's just that the runtime is a bit small, so it's everything is filled with dot most of it. But when you build operating system in the when you build a file system, you use inode. The reason is you don't actually have a big table for all the thing. It's not feasible since forever. So you have the inode to point that to get this file had connection. This file is stored here. So with this, it's actually it's more efficient instead of knowing where it is. So it's actually pretty smart actually. So so this is a new technique that I learned, and and more importantly, it scaled reasonably well until maybe 5 or so because I add another dimension. There's another 2 to the power, all to the power of n now, which is crazy, and I think it's pretty smart actually. So let's share Chileum's one. I'm going to stop.
For the 11th day I did last week is that I try to animate the solution.
Yeah.
So it's actually this is really painstakingly rendered pixel by pixel.
Yeah.
CPU renderer. So it's really slow. So that like every one of these is I have a buffer. Then I actually do a diff based on that. But actually for each of them is one. I have to rewrite one frame every single one. So for a large enough data, it is not. I mean, the RAM under the sun wouldn't be enough for that. So I need to learn how to do this properly. So and I also
what is it supposed to be doing? Like what is this showing us?
So what happened is for this question is about sitting, but the thing is in that world, sitting actually is essentially a form of cellular automata. So it's an automaton and all that. So
let me share the one that I shared previously, because I had it gone. I tried to come up with something more greedy, but apparently it doesn't work.
Yes.
So I need to learn how to use a proper renderer instead of a CPU that I implement myself.
So when people look at this, a few of the community think that it's a game of life. It's not a game of life. This thing is called cellular automata. What it means is that it's essentially a grid where a square is populated based on rules, and it's not really just.
And it looks like it's actually checking all like 8 directions.
Yes, because they actually because in the question based on the it's based on a row of all the adjacent squares, all the 8 next squares, right? And this is actually what is meant by rules.
Yeah.
And
How come
so-
I see sometimes the green square goes like way down? See?
Oh, because there's two rule sets.
Yeah.
This one is the greedy one. So wait for me. While I I look for the whole thing.
Yeah. So Swimming,
So
you're saying something?
So the thing that interesting about cellular automata is that it is a simple rules, yet it can generate complex pattern. So in MIT AI lab in the 60s or 70s, when Game of Life created, it actually entranced the original hackers of MIT, the Model Chain Railroad Club. The reason is the rules to write cellular auto game of life is very simple. If you had n squared, in this case, if you have
okay.
if you're alive,
Let me reshare my screen.
yeah, if you're
Yeah,
alive,
you only have like you have a few rules,
So
and it's very difficult to
be
Correct.
careful about
predict.
if you have a photosensitive. Please do not look at this.
yeah,
So this is the first part of the solution. That's how
yes,
it filled up the space gradually.
yeah,
So the second one is a greedy one that you look for more, but it actually solves things faster. So you can see that it's
yes.
actually
Stopped.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So
Yeah.
this
So
is written pure Go using the GIF library. The standard GIF library is really stupidly, and this one to render this uh, takes up 60 gig of the memory just for this scanning part. And
yeah,
I learned that FFmpeg is really good. So I actually use that because naively showing frame by frame is not efficient, especially to share it. So I use FFmpeg to convert it to MP4, and then use compress it, then convert it back to a GIF, and that save me at least 16 meg to few hundred K.
yeah,
So yeah.
Okay. Yep, interesting. So we learn about techniques on how to save on
yeah,
space and memory
So
by
it's actually
using sparse.
how to use a renderer properly.
yeah, correct.
Well,
I
not
didn't-
that one as well.
But one of the more interesting one today, one of the more interesting solutions today, if I can share it, it might be a bit slow, is they actually implement it in Minecraft.
Yeah, it actually makes more sense because you show the results.
Yep. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, I have to share it on this. So this is actually the first rule set, the
You want
three-dimensional
to
rule
zoom
set.
in it, yeah, a bit.
Better.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you can actually render it this way, but 4 dimension will get a bit weird. But yes,
Yeah,
you can render it.
you cannot actually render that in 4 dimension.
Yes, because our brain cannot perceive it. It get weird really fast.
No, I mean, yeah.
It's just something unthinkable. So which is
And
why
we actually saw a question about the when next number is that?
yeah, when egg number that's yesterday's question.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
really really. I didn't know there's a name, so
yeah,
it was really funny.
sequence.
Yeah.
So when X
So it's a
sequence
sequence.
is a sequence that you cannot
It's a
determine.
it goes to infinite.
Yes. So so what happened is the online integer
You need to
encyclopedia
zoom in a
integer
bit
sequence.
to see the text clear. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I will share the link to number file later. But here's what we know about when X number. The rules is simple. I should share the question. Yesterday, right? 17.
So let me
I
share the
do-
link to the chat.
Yes.
So don't watch it now. Later.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, so I'm so sorry about this one. No, today is 17.
Yeah,
This is
16.
16. Uh, no, this is the passing one. It's 15. It must be 15. So it's very simple, the rule. So if first time number is taken, the current number is 0. How many turns?
I think it's the simplest question for the week.
Yeah. But here what happened is saying that the first 3 number you will speak as it is only on the third number where things get interesting, because on the fourth one you have to check the previous one. Then you'll be guaranteed to be 0, etc. Go on. So when X number doesn't tell you what's the sequence is. They just tell you there's a sequence. And here's what when X number. Here's what people know about when X number. One, it grows, and it can grow very fast as when it goes very long. That's about it. They do not. You cannot predict a sequence. You cannot predict the previous rules. You cannot predict anything else. So this is very.
It goes to infinity. You can ask for it. You can ask for the next number as much as you can.
Correct. So I implement that as well. I kind of like that one because I think this is one of the simple ones. Yeah, I didn't even have
one of the
test.
Also, one of the interesting thing that we had over the Sunday's question was the LCM and also the Chinese remainder.
Oh yeah, that one. A lot of I think I'm definitely stumped. I definitely stumped on that. I think it's Saturday. It's actually on a Saturday. That one's also interesting.
Is it on? Okay, I forgot.
Yeah, it's the Saturday.
So there were 2 things that.
Yes. So
and LCM, the least common multiple, actually relies on the what I forgot.
Chinese.
There's GCD. GCD is the greatest common divisor, and surprise, greatest common divisor is often included in for Python. It's in the standard library as well. For Golang, it's in the standard library as well.
But
usually use the LCD for like calculating primes.
Correct.
Like if 2 numbers don't have a GCD, then they're prime, prime against each other.
In this case, the common divisor must be 1 because I know for sure all the number are prime. I just know the number is prime, so it's 1. So it doesn't really matter in this case.
Yeah.
But in this case,
apparently the Chinese remainder theorem is more efficient.
Correct. And because the reason is this, right? The reason is you know that something plus 1 is the modulus of 0. You know that's the sequence. So the best way for you to do that is to calculate the D to make. You have to look through the number to get the sequence for you to get count where you satisfy the scenario. So that's where I stumble.
Yeah, we actually we tried to brute force that.
Yeah.
Apparently, assuming I think you scroll down and look at your answer, I think it's more than billions, right? Over. And for me, looping through it efficiently is that I can only do it per like a billion per like 15 minutes, something like that.
Yes.
So that's the answer. So you try to brute force it's gonna take you forever.
Correct. So one of the things that people discovered when they work on this is that you have to jump fast enough yet meet the condition. That's why it's hard actually. But in this case, once you fit, this is the condition, and this is the thing that actually jump as soon as you reach the target quick enough. Which is why sometimes if you're interested in this, do check out the Reddit post.
Yesterday's one was interesting because it's actually applicable to data processing, where you have a heuristic of what the field is. It's actually by statistical distribution of what that thing is, without knowing the content. You just by associate them by distribution.
And that's actually how. This is actually partially how they break the Enigma code actually. Because in the Enigma code, they know a few things. They know that the Germans like to announce the time and weather in their report. They know that, but they do not know content. So what they do is they search for, and they know roughly the place there is. Then in this case, there's a first in the report. So in the encrypted message, and the first message, run your analyzer until you get the weather and time. Then from there, then it'll be easier for you to crack the rest of the code. So that's how they break the Enigma code actually. Random note, don't ask me how I know, I just know. It's random thing that Sumi know. So I dropped my mic. Actually, I didn't use the mic. What the hell? So what else? So yeah, that's it. Don't worry about catching up. Just have fun. Seriously, just have fun.
It's there to learn and to support. If you are stuck, just look at the solution and learn from it.
Correct.
So that's why I realized as well, because some of the earlier questions were similar from last year's.
Yes, correct. This is the reasonably easier one. But in this one, I made a few mistakes. One of the mistakes I made is that, you can navigate code now. I made typos, and also I look at the wrong thing.
And it's
Also-
very interesting because everybody do it very differently.
Yes,
Even if you look at the results, solutions on Reddit, they are vastly different.
correct. So let's put today's one, right? Today's one. Let's see whether.
Some of them are really good people.
Yeah, so for example, these guys, what they do is they check the cell manually, right? It probably not like that, but it ends up like that. So they actually put Game of Life as XYZ as a character.
Wait, but that isn't that like limited to just 3 dimensions? I
Yeah.
thought it was n-dimensional.
Yeah, which is why
It's
here. There's
That's why we
four
have part 1 and
dimensions.
part 2.
Yes.
So
correct.
some people, they solve the problem like shapeless.
Yes.
Part is that I solved mine for 2.
Yes.
But it's
Yeah, I mean,
really not efficient.
it's nice to have like a generic solution for n. Like given
Yeah.
n dimensions, you can actually do it.
Yes, you can. It's actually doable. I proved it because I implemented it.
Everybody implement differently.
Yeah, you just do it differently. For
I just
example,
realized that I cannot share because I'm using 2 monitor.
Yep.
And on Linux, I actually cannot share any one of my screen. See, I have to share. I have to share the whole thing.
Are you using Wayland?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Wayland doesn't. I think Wayland still does not support full screen sharing. You can share windows.
Understandable,
but you
because
cannot
it's a hard balance between security and
Mm.
usability.
Yeah, so you cannot get the buffer, basically the screen buffer.
So if you want to protect the buffer, then that's the unfortunate part.
Well,
also, another trick I learned in Advent of Code. Where is my code actually? I lost it. Okay, you are. I discovered. Okay, so here's the question to you guys. So let's say you have to generate a sequence of numbers, right? Negative 1, 0, and 1. It will take 3 positions at a time. How do you generate a whole sequence? A whole sequence of numbers in one line. So it can be like any start from 0, 0, 0, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1 to 1, 1, 1, and get the amount of, get all the solution combination for that.
the permutations, you mean? All the
Yeah,
permutations of
Correct.
given a length of, like, let's say
So-
length of 10, and you can have 0, -1, and +1. What are
So,
the
okay,
permutations
so-
between those 10?
Yeah, this is the question I'm asking. how do you get a permutation of these numbers of certain length? I already showed the answer, but how do you do that in your language?
Yeah. So what's the? I don't know. We probably have one. Most of the time we don't have to do that.
Yes.
That's why it's not doesn't come top of mind. But I'm sure
Yes, I do
there's
not
a
do
way to
it
do it.
as well. But what happened is I discovered a thing called product. It's actually part of iter tools in Python. So what it does is precisely.
I found out that something that I've seldom used for Python is that collection, iter tools, and func tools. They are really useful.
Yes, it's really interesting how it's being used. It's very nice to generate sequence. So here's another one, right? I'm going to show off again because I like to. How should I show this? So,
Okay. Do you want me to show my screen first while you're thinking about it?
No, it's
Yeah.
very
Well, it's a
simple.
completely different topic, though. It's a different topic, so
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
go
yeah.
about it.
So what happened is I actually generate all the combinations.
I think you can, since you're sharing browser, just open up a repo it. I repo it
Okay.
page, yeah, and type in the snippets.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the thing that I use to share snippets actually. You don't actually need to sign up one. Do you?
Okay.
Just you one is fine.
Okay.
Just a create. So new repo.
This one.
New repo, yeah, plus Python.
Random.
No, it actually gives you a random name.
Okay.
Just now.
Great. Okay. How do I use this?
Okay, just type your snippets.
Okay.
Just import iter tool.
Okay, just use this now. Okay.
Well, you have to import it first.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, correct.
No, just type it in. I think it's faster.
I do not know how to. Okay, I don't know how this works. Okay.
No. You just type it in and you run it just like your script. No, you don't run from here. You just type in the source
And
file,
click on
the
run.
main.py.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Then you do a print.
I don't remember how the code looked like. There's a problem.
Okay, just yeah.
And repeat
You might need to
equals 3.
replace the dimension.
So this is an example.
So you do a print,
Yeah.
yeah.
Print prop.
Just like your normal scripts.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And run, just run.
For key in prop print. Okay.
I like using this service.
Yeah. So this is how you actually generate all the combination and guarantee to generate everything. So in this case, if I don't use this, I ends up have to do. I have to build a map.
Of course,
You can
for 3
follow.
dimension is 3 dimension is easy, but if you want n dimension, then
Correct. So in this
then it's
case,
the easiest way.
for example, I have data.
You know, for the part 1, I actually handcraft my own. It's just 26, right? Permutation, right?
Yeah, correct.
So
So
but
in
the
this
second one
case-
is actually 80.
Yes. Oh, really?
So you can handcraft 80. Yeah. For 4th dimension is 80.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
for 3 values.
So in this case, because we know x and y, but I can actually I actually can enumerate up to 40 actually. Bad example. I had a cooler example. I forget. Oh, here you are. So to actually go through all the lists, so I only need to use. I only need to get the range from. So I give you an example for this. Okay. Bad example. Okay, so let's say I have a corner. I have a corner from -6, -6 to 6, right? You can imagine that way. So -6 to 7, and I have. Let's make it 3 dimension. Let's make this 3 dimension. And when you run it, you're guaranteed to generate all the sequence of coordinate, within the range. So if you've got n dimension, just add n dimension, and you would generate.
Yeah, I
all the
think it's
sequence.
easier to see what you're seeing by just
Yeah.
not doing -6 to 7, but limiting the range. Like let's say 1 to 3, range
Yeah.
1 comma 3, and then at least now you can imagine how it actually looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all of the combinations of 1, 2, and 3
And
in 3 dimensions.
and more importantly, you would literally just run one for loop, and you can go through the whole n-dimensional object in one for loop. So it makes
Well,
things more
it's
durable.
just it is easier because it's like Python gives you that convenience, but of course
correct.
the product function itself probably
Need to
has multiple
exist.
loops, and yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, just something I discovered when I'm doing this. So yes, actually I'm pretty much done actually. So Tristan, what you want to show?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Google. Do you know about Google Photos charging stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes,
so
yes.
I think it's happening like next year, middle of next year or
Correct,
something,
June.
June. So I wanted to start preparing for it,
Yeah.
and I found something interesting because I've been using my server NAS
Yeah.
as a NAS, but
Yeah.
it was quite difficult to just upload photos and all of these things. So I'll show a picture of the NAS right now. So I'll share my screen.
Look, okay.
Yeah. So here's the NAS that I have right now. I just opened the side door. You have like how do I doodle here? I guess I can doodle here. Can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can see my mouse.
Yeah.
So you have like no, it doesn't actually show. Why is it like this? Whoa.
Is that a normal ATX?
Yes, this is an AT. No, the motherboard now. The motherboard is a micro ATX. So you'll see you have like 2 extra. But this space is actually an ATX case, but it's from the mouse cursor is actually different. Anyway, from here to here is actually extended. So usually your cases will only be until here.
Yeah.
But this fractal design case, this is the fractal design 7. It has this portion which you can either configure for storage, which I have it right now, or for airflow. So you usually have something like how do I undo my drawings? I can't do it. Anyway, you'll have like water cooling, etc. So you have like 1, 2, 3, 4 large like this. These are 4 terabytes. This is like a 3 terabyte hard drive. These are like USB 2.0 cables for like extra, like if I need to plug in some USB hard drives. Like on the top here would be like your USB 3.0. This would be your SATA adapters, because this one is actually a caddy for 6 2.5-inch hard disk drives. And so you have like all of these like SATA PCIe adapters here. And of course, like this is like an old i7 3770. So I've been using this NAS for quite a few years now. I just upgraded the case because I wanted to use all of these things. And one of the things, so one of the things that I wanted is to somehow use this storage for the photos that I'm taking on the phone, on my camera, because I've been relying on Google Photos, and Google Photos are going to be charging, especially if you're not using their free conversion thing.
I'm a lazy one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just get a Synology.
Yeah, well, it is. Well, the thing is, yeah, you have a Synology, but the thing is, because you have to manually copy, that's the thing I want to avoid, right? I have to manually copy things. And so what I'm using right now here, this is unRAID. This is like, this is not RAID, basically. This is like JBOD with some management and stuff. And the thing is, you can actually run, let me just make it larger. No, okay, anyway. You can run Docker containers in it.
Yeah, the
Like
good
it's
thing about it
easily,
is that it's more powerful to run a bunch of stuff for you.
yeah. So you have like 8 cores. This is a 3770. It's not that speedy, but for Docker containers, it's quite enough, right? And you can run
Where do you
virtual
put this
machines as
machine
well.
at?
Oh, it's just in front of me right now.
Okay. So
I
it doesn't warm you
think
up.
I have. Sorry, it doesn't
Does
what?
it warm you up?
No, it's not very hot. Like there's no the CPU. Like you'll see here, it's 58, 50 degrees here. Like where's the temperature or something? I don't know where the temperature is. Like it's 52 degrees for the motherboard, and it's 52, 50 for the CPU. It's not that bad. The disks, the drives themselves are like, so this is now actually under load because I'm doing a parity check because I had to restart it like just now because I was trying some things out and it crashed. And so it's trying to see if any of the data was actually affected. I don't think it is, but I'm just running it anyway. So the drives are actually under full load right now, and you only have like all of these like temperatures. This is not used at all, so they're quite cool in comparison. And you have your cache drives. But the thing is, because I have Plex running, and the thing about Plex is you have this thing called camera upload. So you run Plex on my server, so you have like something like what do I have right now? I still have about 4 terabytes free, 3.5 terabytes free on this thing. You have because I have a lot of movies, a lot of files here. This is my backup server as well. This you can run this on your phone. So basically, you can run this on your phone or your tablets, etc. And what happens is it can automatically upload your pictures, the pictures that you take from your phone, into Plex. Like without as you can set it so that whenever you charge your phone, it uploads. So for example, so what happens is it looks like this, right? So I take pictures, it just uploads things. This is the server again. So this is how it looks like right now. Well, not right now, but before I added all of the drives. You'll see this is the desk. This is the monitor that I'm looking at right now. There's the monitor. This is the laptop that is on this side. And this is the server that is in front of me right now. So it makes it very, very easy to upload. And the thing is, because this is not compressed, it's the raw image from your phone going here. And at the same time, so I can do something like this. So I can plug something like this card reader onto the USB slot. It shows up onto one of the one of the devices here, and you can have something called a script. I don't have it set up right now, but you can actually run a script based on like how it identifies itself. So each of the cards, the SD cards, will have an identity, and when it detects that this gets inserted, you can run basically a Linux script to, let's say, copy all of the contents of this SD card into this folder in the library, let's say. And so it makes everything a lot easier. I don't have to manually go into Windows or Linux, plug in my SD card, select, copy, etc. It's all automated for me. And I think this one is great for as a replacement for photos. Because Plex allows me to access my library from anywhere in the world as long as I have an internet connection.
But the setup is still non-trivial, right? You still need a PC, a computer.
Well, you do need Plex Media Server. So you'll see here, I do have Plex Media Server running.
Yeah, but it's part of
you have to set up,
right? It's
no,
part of
Plex is Plex.
No,
Plex is
I
Plex.
mean, it's something that you can install directly using Unread, right?
Plex runs on Windows, Mac, and Linux.
Yeah. I understand that.
I just ran it under a Docker container in Unraid.
Okay.
So Unraid has virtualization in it. So if you're using something like Proxmox or VMware or Xen, for example, or you're just running it as an Ubuntu box headless, for example, it doesn't matter. Plex Media Server will run. It's just that I chose like this particular setup because I'm already using Unraid. and I'm already using Plex.
Yeah.
I found about camera upload. I think it's one of their later offerings, like one of their later features.
How? What was the requirement for running this as
For
a computer?
running which one?
Because I have a spare computer, I'm wondering whether I can run this.
Well, you only run Unraid if you want to have a NAS, like a network attached storage, right? You don't need
Yeah.
Unraid to run Plex. You can just install
No, no, no,
Plex
no.
Media Server. So
Yeah.
Plex Media. Let's take a look at the. So it depends again on what you need for Plex.
Yep.
Plex allows you as a home theater PC, right?
Yep.
You can run like a potato laptop, for example, and then it automatically transcodes 4K for you, for example. But
Right, right, right.
the server itself needs to be quite fast. So you can run it on Linux, and yeah, you don't have it's not that how do you call this? It's not that demanding on hardware if you're not transcoding a lot. But
Okay.
and
Yeah.
if you're using it only for photos, then yes, it's you don't need a lot of hardware even.
So in short, I can, let's say I got a spare computer, which
Mhm.
I can use for a NAS because it's a spare computer, which multiple slot for hard drive. So we just install this, then we install Plex on this,
No, you don't
and
need to install Unraid. You can just if all you need is if you want a NAS, then you can either have FreeNAS.
yeah, yeah,
FreeNAS
yeah,
also has virtualization support.
right,
You
right,
can
right,
use Windows Drive Share, so like,
right,
or you can even use ButterFS or XFS or uh, LVM in Ubuntu if you really don't want, like, if you don't need RAID, for example, or you don't need parity, you don't need data protection, you just need like a big drive,
yeah,
the
yeah,
combination of all of your drives, then you can
yeah,
even run
So
it like
what
that.
happened if one of the drive died?
So the way I've set it up is I have one parity. So this is protected for one drive. Like any of these 4 drives can die, and I don't lose data, and I can
right,
rebuild the data, right? But if 2 of them die, like let's say disk 2 and 3 die, this is not RAID, so it's unRAID, because in normal RAID, if you have like let's say you have RAID 1, right, and you have and it's which is like one, you have RAID 1 striping. Sorry, no, what is RAID? Oh, sorry, let's say RAID 0 striping. You lose one disk, all of your data is gone. Like even if it's like 10 drives and you have RAID
Yeah.
0 striping, because your data is spread out all through all 10 drives, and if you lose one, then basically the parity, like you cannot rebuild the data because you've lost data to rebuild the rest of the files. But in this case, these are actually separate drives. So even if you lose 2, all of the data that is still in disk 1 is still available. You just lose the data on the drives that you actually lost. And it's good, for example, if parity is the most the heaviest hit because parity always write to it. This is actually an enterprise drive. I think this is a Seagate Enterprise secondhand that I bought. It's quite expensive if you buy it brand new, but as a secondhand, it's quite okay, and
The
it's
Iron Wolf?
quite good.
Iron Wolf series?
Sorry,
Iron Wolf?
what?
Is
Sorry,
that the Iron Wolf drive? The next
I
drive?
don't. No. One of them is Iron Wolf. This is a Seagate enterprise capacity. I don't know, an
Okay.
STM. You can. Let's see. Let's Google this. But it's an enter. I have the Iron Wolf, but this is different. This is
Okay.
a sorry.
So it's
This
much
is a
more expensive.
512N. It's a lot
Okay,
more expensive.
Exos.
I got yes, this is enterprise quality grade. I got it secondhand for much cheaper because it's used, right? Usually you don't buy used hard drives because usually they're like the life is already like dead, right? But for the price and for the enterprise level stuff, it was a good deal. I think this is the Iron Wolf. So this is the Seagate. It doesn't say anything. But yeah, so this is Seagate Iron Wolf. This one is also nice. It doesn't run at 7200. It runs at around 6,000 RPM. But I feel that this is a lot better because the temperatures are a lot nicer. Unlike, for example, the Toshiba that I got, which is the Toshiba Red 4 terabytes, it's always super hot. It's 7200, but I don't like how hot it can become. So going forward, I am going to be getting Iron Wolves or second-hand enterprise drives if I ever need to replace any of them.
Right.
Yeah.
I
So
think consider-
yeah, so that's the thing. That's because this is a backup server that I'm doing. So I want, and it's always online. So I don't want to have downtime on this server, which is
Yeah.
why I have it set up as parity. So even if one of the drives go bad, like die, for example, then that means I have I have the drive base here. I don't have to turn it off. I can just remove one of the drives. Did you know that SATA is actually hot swap?
Yeah.
So you can actually hot swap SATA. So you can remove it while the whole thing is running. Most of the time you spin it down first because I've tried it with a 7200 RPM 3.5-inch hard drive while still running. Unplug it. It actually it will fly off from your hands because of the momentum of the drives inside. It's really it's frightening how fast those things actually spin. So spin it down first, remove it, and just replace another one. So no downtime for that. So yeah, so that's the setup here. I just thought that I want to because that's we're talking about what we've been up to, and I was preparing for the inevitability that Google Photos are going to be expensive, and I am not planning to pay for those things. I might need to download all of my photos there and back it up to one of my Plex.
I don't know.
Galleries.
If you have it, then it's fine. But if you spread it across a period of time, I think is the price is acceptable, right? I'm not sure. Not talking about in terms of ownership of the platform first. I mean, in terms of the cost to
Correct.
set it up.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, the thing about what I like about Unraid and what I'm planning eventually. So this is a 3770. It's like what 2012, 2013 series i7, right? From
Yeah.
I'm thinking of getting something like a 5900X or maybe a 5700X to replace this. And the thing, because you can virtualize things, right? You can have Ubuntu, you can have Windows 10, you can pass through graphics card, for example. And so I want to consolidate all of my stuff, my NAS, my actual work PC, my like transcoding things or like automation and etc. into this single machine, and that actually cuts down a lot on the devices that you have. So you invest on a single powerful machine, and then you have like all of these terminals connecting to it, like small laptops just remoting into it, or like doing some RGP sessions or something like that.
You know, probably do that when I'm retiring my current desktop.
Mm-hmm.
I do
Which is
have a,
interesting. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
swimming.
no, I still keep my desktop because of gaming actually. I mean, I do some
Yeah.
gaming.
Well, the thing, the argument here is you have a gaming machine and all you do use it for is gaming, but why can't you do work on it just because it's a different
Yeah,
operating system, right?
precisely, right.
So why don't you
Precisely.
virtualize it? And then this just happens to be uh, to have a virtualization layer. So this is running I don't know which distribution it's running underneath,
Yeah.
but you can run Ubuntu and you can run Windows on top of it, and it's fine. And you can like
Yeah,
plug in your drives, and you have like full stuff.
the
Chris is
question from Chris,
asking, yeah.
whether we store so much thing on Google Photo. The short answer is yes, because I'm not show off. And also,
Well, Google Photos Google Photos does not
Um,
only show store photos; it also stores videos.
yes,
I'm
I
not a
only
data
do
holder,
photos.
so I don't have much. It really doesn't really affect me. But I'm actually towards the idea of having an alternative that we have more
Yeah.
control of.
Correct, correct.
So
And more
one
importantly,
thing
we
for
can share.
more importantly,
Oh, because we can, because we have the skill.
Yeah. Well,
No,
yeah.
it's
Well, for example, if you have Dropbox and you're running out of space, right? Instead of like inviting people so that your quota gets increased, or like buying for
no,
or spending for it, then
not really.
you can have something like SyncThing or Nextcloud, which is actually SyncThing is open source. Nextcloud is, I don't think it's open source, but it's free. But you have to run it on your own server.
Yeah.
And that
It
allows
runs on your
so
Raspberry
SyncThing
Pi.
it runs on any NAS. SyncThing is a lot more difficult to set up, so that's why I turn it off, because it's quite difficult to move things around. But Nextcloud is more like Dropbox. But the thing is, you actually own the data. It's not stored somewhere in the cloud, which when I've tried during Dropbox time, there were a lot of like small cloud services as well that have already like gone. I think QB was one. I forgot. Like some old stuff, like older ones that had to email and say, "I'm sorry, we're shutting down. Please download all of your stuff," and because basically you're storing it in their servers. But in this case, you can run that service here. You can run the BitTorrent thing. I forgot which BitTorrent. That syncs things. I forgot.
Yeah, Deluge.
No.
I see you have
BitTorrent
a
has
Deluge.
a client. I have a BitTorrent client, but they had a BitTorrent syncing system.
It's called
BitTorrent
Sync.
sync. Yeah, sync. Yeah, BitTorrent sync, and you can run it, and then basically you have your own thing. You run your own services, and you own
Toilet
your own
paper
data.
roll.
Mm.
Toilet paper roll.
So
just use some of the
we were talking about IoT, and we were talking about security, right? So
Yeah.
eventually,
And-
like there's no other no better security than being able to turn off the power on your
But
computer.
I'm going to give a counter argument. How about things like what's the Apple thing again? AirDrop.
iCloud? Yeah, AirDrop.
iCloud. Yeah.
What is it? Apple has a lot of services.
They have something similar.
Which one? Yeah,
for
iCloud.
syncing files. iCloud,
Mhm.
right?
iCloud.
But is this something that they have user have to pay,
Yeah.
or is part of the all of this?
No.
Sync. So
iCloud-
these are all
iCloud needs to
applications.
Right.
Yeah, iCloud you have to pay. You have like 5 gigs free, and then you have to pay. for
And
more.
it's worse because no matter how many devices you buy,
Yeah.
you still have to
Yeah.
pay for it.
It's like
It's
okay.
per account. It's not per device. I would understand if like one device it adds like 1 gig to your thing, then I'd be motivated to buy more devices, right? But no.
Okay, so there is.
No, they're
So
not
now
gonna
you
give you
actually
a charger.
Yeah.
now you had a very good reason to actually up your sysadmin skill, even though it's quote unquote old school. But seriously, learn it, because no company is going to help you to.
For me, my fortunate part is that there's no. I don't have to do recording this year, so most of my net space are consumed by this. I need to process them, upload them, and delete the raw file.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing, like since it's the end of the year, I would suggest people, like if you're getting bonuses, for example, I don't know if people are getting Christmas bonuses, but if you're getting bonuses, to plunk it down on like building your own computer. It's one of the skills that some people don't actually have. Like I would suggest that it's different when you build. It's like building your own lightsaber, I guess. So building
Yes.
your own computer from parts, because
I
it
can't
gives you a
say
different.
it's the same.
Yeah, well, it gives you a different perspective of the thing that you're using to create your software, right? Like, what is this CPU? Why is more core? Like, how do many cores fit into this thing?
Yes.
What's a transistor?
And also like building an unconventional one, like a mini ITX will be fun.
Yeah. Because when you building a computer is like an analog thing. Like you have cables to plug in, and sometimes it's plug in, fully plug in, whatever. Whereas in software, it's very defined. Like whatever you do, it's like that. But sometimes you'll run into these like edge cases where it's either defined or not.
The thing that I'm doing is building networking stacks at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like I have yeah I just have my own I mean the room sector now has a network switch.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so now
I'll
I can
show
plug more
my
device in.
I know a
again
guy
with this
that had a
larger.
network switch at home.
No,
He's
I
plugged
can
in
never
one
say it's
switch.
home outside, but I have one in my room now.
Yeah.
So no
He
problem.
had one switch. Then he put it inside the cellar. Now
Let me
each room had a
let me
switch.
check. Let me move my cam. I have a. You see the small one? This is actually a switch
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
next to a
Not the
Nintendo
Nintendo
Switch.
Yes. Oh my god, hamster.
Yeah, so just wanted to show that because we were talking about camera upload, it doesn't just sync videos; it also syncs the video on the thing. So it's how do you say? It's quite like as a backup Google Photos replacement. It's great. Like I like it.
Cool. Cool. Very
So
cool.
it's like this
We have to wrap up.
just playing thing.
It's
Yeah.
11
Yeah.
now.
Yes. So I think we'll wrap up, and next week is our Christmas show. I have no idea what we're going to do.
I
to
have
be
no
honest.
idea. So if you have any suggestion, anything in depth you want us to cover, just feel free to ping us.
Yes.
Look at the
We
hamster.
have. Yeah,
It's so
we
small.
really have no idea because my plan on that day is to track Santa on NORAD because I'm essentially 12-year-old.
I'm 11.
Yeah. Then the New Year Eve show we might do a countdown, but please don't shout. The neighbor will kill you if you see. So whatever happened, wait for next week lah. As usual, subscribe. I do not know where it is. Subscribe here, or was it here, and all that. So I think that's all there. Subscribe, click like, and all
Yep.
that. If
Bye,
you're okay.
folks.
We'll end
So-
with a hamster video.
Yes.
Look at that.
Bye.
Bye.